Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, putting personal drive on hold until gas prices go down. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Do you think they will go down anytime soon? I mean, they're starting to, right?
They are starting to. I think I saw it go down under $4, and I thought, woo, giving it away. Wow.
That's so sad.
Before we get going into the episode, we've got some new listeners in here, and we thought we should just give another rundown about what our show is all about.
Yes. So for all of our OG listeners, you guys already know how this whole thing works, so just bear with us. But we just wanted to give a little breakdown. So Trevin and I like to start the episodes with going over a personal dreadful dilemma that we have recently experienced, something that is making us feel very doomed about life. Then we go into our fun segment section. So we have so many already. What do we have, Trevin? We have not dreadful dilemmas.
2 truths and a lie, killer facts, trivia, would you rather,
Top 5. So you just never know what you're going to get each week. And Trevin has created really awesome drops each time just to kind of give you an intro into our segment. And then, for the grand finale of each episode, we go over a petty crime each. So we take turns on who goes first each week. We do our long, dramatic readings of a story that we have each written, and Trevin's original music behind each story, along with our sound effects.
And then we discuss afterwards any bit of commentary we may have about it.
Yeah, and we like to end with a connection between our stories, which, gosh, what do you think? Like 98% of the time we have a connection between our two stories without us even planning it.
No matter how weak, we can usually find one. But we've had a couple fails.
Yes. So should we move on to our dreadful dilemmas now?
We shall. You know, I've got a dreadful dilemma.
Okay.
And over the last year and a half or so that we've been doing this, I've had a lot of different ailments. Not talking about the serious ones, but I've had a small, big toenail.
I was going to say, are you going to talk about the weird toe? Okay.
I had the toenail, I had the wisdom teeth, and then I had that time where I realized that I was murder-proof.
Oh, yeah, that one time. I remember.
So I've got this other ailment, and I have found out that I have origami hands.
You can bend your fingers into hard creases?
When I'm sleeping.
Oh, my God.
So what I seem to do, and I can't seem to put a stop to it, is I will sleep with my arms crossed like I'm pouting, but then I will kind of have my fingers just contorted in weird, stupid ways, and I will lay on my side or I will lay on my chest a little bit, and then I'll wake up with these stiff-ass hands. I'm like, oh,
oh my God.
Opening my hands up. I'm getting to the point lately where it is kind of hurting during the day. And it's like kind of got like these weird little arthritis feelings to them.
Okay, we need to put you in a straitjacket.
I went out and I bought compression gloves.
Really?
Yeah, so right before bedtime, Emily's like, "Oh, I got to put on my night gloves." And so I have these little gloves that I put on, which aren't that good. But I've thought about going and getting one of those carpal tunnel braces just to keep my wrists more straight when I'm trying to sleep.
Damn, dude, you're going to be sleeping like a mummy.
Yeah, I sleep stupidly already, so I might as well. It's just been really annoying.
You got claw hands. That's what you have.
I sleep with claw hands.
Oh my God, that's awful. This might be one of the worst dreadful dilemmas I've heard. Like, you wake up with weird claw hands and you're stiff and in pain the rest of the day. That is bizarre.
It is really bizarre. Or I'll sleep with my hand kind of pushed against my face, but I'll just do it in like a weird way. And It's stupid.
Wow. Stop it, origami hands. Origami.
Origami. Yeah, it's just not really a normal person problem, but...
No.
Hey, if you have that problem, send us an email.
I would love to hear if anyone else has this weird problem.
And I don't want to be alone.
Wow. I have a dreadful dilemma this week, and you are actually involved in my dilemma. But don't worry, Trevin, it's nothing you've actually done, okay?
Oh, good.
You're just guilty by association.
I don't need any more guilt.
No. So my dreadful dilemma is that I have seen a movie before you have.
Oh, that's a dilemma for me too, because I really wanted to see the movie.
Yes. So Jordan and I, my husband and I, went on a date recently, which, wow, we really haven't done that in so long. It was good to just be like, listen here, kids. We're going to have some time without you. That really doesn't happen very often these days.
No, but you deserve it.
Yeah. So we went to a movie theater, which is another thing that I haven't done, Trevin, since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been to a theater in years. That's weird.
Yeah. I haven't been to one in a week.
Bless your little soul. So I went to see the movie Nope. And I know you're a huge Jordan Peele fan, which so is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just dying to talk to you about it, and I can't. It is killing me inside.
Yeah, I should have made that my dilemma that I haven't seen it yet. I'm seeing John Mulaney tonight.
Yeah.
So I cannot see Nope this weekend because I'm only allowed to do one fun thing a weekend. But also I just have a lot of work to do. But yeah, it's eating me up too because I want to ask you about it, but I also don't want to know. I know it's not what I think it is, but yeah.
It's interesting. That's what I'll say. It wasn't like his other films in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And this is ridiculous, but when we went to go pick up our girls after the movie, I was trying to figure out what we had just witnessed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking things through out loud with Jordan. And finally, by the time we left the theater and we made it to my parents' driveway, I finally was like, I think I understand what we just witnessed. But I wonder if it's going to take you that long. I mean, you're such a movie buff and you are such an interesting thinker that I'm sure you'll probably get it sooner than I did. But it did take me a beat. It really did.
I love the way he does that with stuff like that. And his movies are like if Twilight Zone episodes became movies because he's so good at putting the social commentary with a very interesting kind of plot.
Yeah.
Like, I love Us. Us is my favorite. I like it way more than Get Out.
Okay. Yeah, you've said that before.
Would you put this above any of Us or Get Out, or is that too soon to ask? I mean, I know they're very different. They're not really comparable.
They're so different.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to answer that. I feel like I still liked his others maybe a tiny bit more.
Okay.
But this one definitely made me think and had me trying to figure things out and had me intrigued the whole time. I think it was still a good movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I might have liked his other ones a little more. But still not a bad movie at all.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know if he can make a bad movie. I really don't.
I don't think he can. I even loved Keanu. That was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just different. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to ruin it for you. But yeah, it definitely made me think very hard and was like, wait, what? How did that go with that? And then finally I was like, oh, okay. And Jordan was like, wow. He basically just witnessed me talking to him, but also to myself out loud for a 15-minute drive, figuring it out.
And that's the way a movie should be.
Yeah. So you're going to like it probably.
Good.
But anyway, it's dreadful. Because, yeah, I just want to talk to you about it and be like, blah, blah. Did it take you a while? What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that?
Yeah, whenever you watch something new for you that kind of blows your mind, I'm usually here to be like, let me walk you through this.
Yeah, I know. And you're not this time. And that is why it is fucking dreadful.
I'll get there.
One day. So, this week, we are going to be sharing some killer facts with everyone.
Hello?
We've traced the facts. They're coming from inside the house.
Killer facts.
I am going first. And I've got a fun one that I find pretty interesting.
Okay.
It has to do with TV.
Ooh.
You know that I'm a big fan. We've already talked about my love for movies.
We have.
So have you ever heard of the Turner Doomsday Video?
I don't think so.
So in 1980, that is when CNN first started broadcasting.
Huh.
And so Ted Turner, the founder of CNN, he had members of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine bands play the national anthem. So he's got big ambitious dreams for his new network, and he says CNN's going to be the thing. So we're starting it off with the national anthem. Welcome to my sweet network.
Okay.
But when he had them record that, he said, hey, could you guys also play Nearer My God to Thee? So when the end of the world happens, we will be there to broadcast the end of the world live.
What?
And we will close CNN off with you guys playing Nearer My God to Thee.
Oh my God. So he prepared for the end of the world.
Yes, in 1980.
So do they still have this on file to use?
They do.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
We don't know if they maybe have a more updated version now.
Wow.
But in the mid-90s, an intern found the video and stole it and recorded it and like showed people. And so it is out now. But like I said, recorded in the 80s. I watched it earlier today. It's just a band standing in front of I don't think it's the Capitol building, but it looks like a city hall type building.
Okay.
And, the camera's kind of backed up and you can hear like warbly, low VHS sounds. And of course it's in the 80s, so it's not in widescreen. It's just that little standard definition. And it's just kind of a poorly recorded band playing that song. And so imagine, if you will,
okay,
it's the end of the world.
Right.
You're hearing the doomsday sirens going off, explosions, screaming. For some reason, you're still sitting on your couch watching TV.
Right.
And CNN comes on, and it's just this old recording of a band playing in standard definition with really low, creepy quality. It's like... And like... I feel like there's nothing more doomsday and scary to me than to have an old-ass video of a band playing on my TV while I'm like sitting here trying to grab my cats and find some place to not die. And here they are just playing us out like the Titanic.
What in the actual hell? What was the purpose? To make us feel more terrified? Was it to comfort us? Was it just so they would be a little more prepared than the other networks? What was the reason?
I think he just felt like that was a good closing song to say goodbye. And, it's like kind of a Christian hymn sort of song. And it's, it's important to be like, be with us, God, as the end of the world. And so he just had it. I guess that's a normal, to a certain extent, is a normal thing, not for the end of the world, but for news stations and stuff. They have pre-made obituaries for people that work there, or like pre-made things, just in case something happens, they're ready to just throw it on.
I'm always wondering about that. How do they get these video compilations done so quickly? But that makes a lot of sense to have them done beforehand. You know, what's so funny, Trevin, is I've actually wondered this exact thing. Not that they had this creepy video saved, but I've wondered, like, okay, let's say that there is this horrible ending to our planet. Are the news networks going to be fighting to get the shot? Like, oh, look what's happening here, what, blah, blah, blah. And as you can see here in the background, the world is coming to an end. Like, would they expect these newscasters to still be working instead of like being with their family?
I wonder that too. Like, the explosions are hitting and like there's a guy who has a big screen and it's showing like the numbers of viewers and he's just like, oh, we're not quite beating Fox. And then he just like closes his eyes knowing that he didn't quite make it.
Yeah. Like, what is the priority here? And how many people are actually going to be, okay, maybe at the start of the beginning of the end, people will be watching the news, but at the end, I don't even think anyone's going to be hearing that damn song. Unless it's just in the background, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Okay, so let's say you were going to go in there right now and put in your own video for the end of the world. What would you be putting on?
Oh, shit. That really put me on the spot.
I'll tell you what mine would be while you're thinking.
Okay, what?
I would just want to have the feed of somebody flipping through TikTok without actually stopping to get into a video. So it's just like, oh, no, nope, it's about that. Nope, no, nope. And so like you're not actually getting into a video and you're just like, God, let the world end. Fuck this. Like nothing would make me accept it more than watching somebody flip through TikTok and not getting into anything.
Oh my
If you're not doing the flipping your own on TikTok, it's like watching somebody just flip through channels real quick and get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, settle on one already.
Yeah, you're like, just make it end already.
Yeah, so that would be that would help me accept it.
I immediately went the other direction of I actually want something to be really comforting to make me feel like, okay, this is a good thing to hear for the last time. Kind of like this creepy video, except for that's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't want something to like, put me out of my misery already. I'd want something comforting, like maybe Britney Spears playing, like take us back to the beginning of Britney Spears, like Hit Me Baby One More Time or something like that.
One more time would be fun.
And it's like, okay, one more time. And then it's done. I think I would be going more in that realm.
So you want something comforting and nostalgic.
Yeah, something that I'm like, okay, Britney, it's Britney, bitch, and here we go.
Yeah, I wanted to hear it one more time.
I don't know. That really put me on the spot, but that's the thing that comes to mind. Okay, well, wow, that is really weird. I wonder if the other news networks have their own little thing too.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
That is so creepy. Okay, so I also have a killer fact to share, and mine is also kind of creepy and kind of has to do with technology in a way, so they're kind of tied together a little bit. I found this news article on apnews.com, and it was impressive, but also very terrifying to me.
Uh-oh.
So, it has been announced that Amazon's Alexa may soon be able to mimic voices of your loved ones, even the ones who have passed away.
Oh, Black Mirror.
Yeah, dude, this gave me real Black Mirror, creepy, like robots taking over the world vibes. So, I guess they did this big convention thing. I think they said it was in Las Vegas or something like that, where they were introducing this new feature.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they explained it is all you would need is less than a minute of a provided recording of the person that you would like Alexa to imitate. And I don't know if you play it for her or upload it to her. I don't know. But after this recording, she hears it or processes it. She can then mimic your loved one. Or maybe you get a recording of a famous person. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But she can mimic voices now is like the new feature. So the senior vice president and head scientist for Alexa, his name is Rohit Prasad. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But he said at the event that the desire behind the feature was to build greater trust in the interactions of users with Alexa by putting more human attributes of empathy and affect.
Oh, God.
How freaking creepy is that?
Yeah, it's like, we're going to manipulate you and you're going to help us.
He straight up was like, we're going to make you trust this robot voice more. Because we're going to trick you, like you said, into believing that it's your loved one. And he specifically said the whole dead loved ones thing. Like a lot of the articles that have come out about this say Alexa will mimic dead relatives. Like that's like the tension-grabbing article headline that I've been seeing everywhere. And at this little like convention in Las Vegas, they had a little boy asking for his grandmother to read him a story on Alexa, and it was his grandmother's voice.
Yeah, until the grandma's voice comes on, and it's just like, you have to pay $5 for me to read you this book.
Yeah, she's like, I see that we don't have a credit card on file, Jimmy.
Grandma's going to have to say goodbye forever unless you can shell out a little more money.
I know. I just found this so problematic in so many ways. Do you have an Alexa or do you have anything like that?
I have a Google Home Mini, but I don't even have it plugged in since we moved into this house. Part of me likes to use buttons, so I don't actually want to like yell across the room and say, "Hey, Alexa."
Right. I feel like, didn't we talk about this in a really old episode that some people just like to boss Alexa around or Siri around or something?
Yeah, the guy who doesn't want to dial his own phone, he was always telling Siri to dial for him.
Yeah. So I don't know. We were given an Alexa, but Jordan and I are both on the exact same page. We never once used it. We never plugged it in. We're like, this is the devil.
Yeah, and what I always notice is people who have those things are always just like, oh yeah, it took me 4 hours to set this up. But now if I want to turn on a light, I'm like, hey, turn on a light. And it's like the one you're standing next to, like you really put in all that much. Like, look, I can do it right now. Click, click.
I know. I don't understand. It's just not for me. And especially here, seeing this article, I'm like, this just proves it more to me how creepy this is becoming.
So my question is this like a thing where you say, hey, Alexa, I really want to talk to dead Uncle Ned. Can you bring him on? And then you can just have a talk? Or does Alexa take a break and let dead Uncle Ned do everything? So you're like, hey, dead Uncle Ned, turn on the lights, you lazy bastard.
And he's like, sure, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I never loved you.
I don't know. I think from what I was reading and gathering, it sounded like the voice would just take over for Alexa's duties.
That's how I was thinking.
I don't think you can have a deep, meaningful conversation with your loved one, but who knows? They may get to that point.
We probably will eventually. They need the AI that'll know how to respond.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just getting creepy as hell. So yes, Alexa can now mimic dead people.
That would be kind of fun, though.
Whew. So on that lovely note, is it story time, Trevin?
Yeah, we just had this creepy fact, and now it's time for even scarier stories.
Oh my God.
This week, I am going first, and I think I'm going to blow you away with this one.
Really?
Yes, and sometimes in the line of work that we cover, scary situations can kind of Trojan horse their way on top of happy situations.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And so I want to tell you one of those tales.
All right, let me get prepared.
And here we go. Of all the days for a person to celebrate, there is none bigger than the birthday. Unlike a holiday, where everyone is celebrating their mutual appreciation for the day, this day is your day. Assuming you don't have a friend or family member born at the same time. As a child, you are raised to look forward to this special day. Parents who don't want to deal with giving a kid what they want right now will elect to make a promise for the future. Maybe on your birthday, we will get you that toy that you caused a huge scene in the store over. From that point on, the promise of a special treat later gets implanted into a child's head. This momentous event tests a child's patience, and for the first time in their little lives, they are no longer living in the moment, but for the future. Whether it be a special present or just a lot of attention, this day becomes the most important thing in a kid's life. And don't even get me started with birthday culture. At a young age, a birthday invitation can tell you everything you need to know about where you stand with your so-called friends.
I guess the invite was lost in the mail, huh, Steve?
But as we get older, the birthday starts to lose a bit of its luster, depending on how you choose to view life. Of course, there are the types who will still don a sash at a less exciting age like 34 and demand everyone partake in their birthday month.
I deserve more than just one day.
But most people just seem to lose steam. For some like me, it stops being a celebration of you and your life and becomes more of a checkpoint for how you're slowly inching your way closer to death. Here's a present that you can't take with you. Blow out the candles while you still have breath to breathe. Live it up today because life will start to hurt the more of it you have. These are just a few of the things I hear in my head when I hear people celebrating my birthday. I'm over here trying to freeze time and act like I will live forever, while you are all trying to force my existence out the door with a celebratory cake. But with my mortality obsession aside, I also just don't like to be the center of attention. As you've seen with this show, I'm awful at reacting to things, and it just feels like a lot of pressure to let people know I'm happy with their form of celebrating me. I feel bad receiving such kind gestures. So every year, when the clock strikes midnight on February 28th, I sink down and pretend not to exist. I dress like Captain America when he's trying to look inconspicuous in the Marvel movies. You know the look. when he puts on the completely generic solid-colored hat and sunglasses? Like that doesn't draw more attention to you and make you look like a weirdo?
Who's that creep in the glasses?
It's all about blending in and getting through the day without tripping any joy alarms for people who don't think they're dying. The tale that I will be laying out for you revolves around a very special birthday. And luckily for you, I have an invitation with your name on it. So wrap up that generic present that you put zero thought into, bring a side dish that travels easily, and let's go. We've got some celebrating to do. Kevin lived in a pit of despair. He had been blissfully going about his life for the past few months, but the dreaded day that always haunted him was sneaking up. Dramatically tearing the July page off of his calendar, there it was. August. Like a medical bill hiding under a colorful coupon book in the mailbox, there it was, just waiting to catch him off guard. Kevin's skin went cold as he felt the blood drain from his face. Suddenly, the only sound he could hear was his own heart beating. Getting to his calendar a little late, it was now August 2nd, 5 days away from Kevin's 27th birthday. For Kevin, he always associated bad memories with the day he was brought into this world. After all, if it wasn't for being born, he wouldn't have to work a corporate job and be exploited by capitalism on a daily basis.
No person should have to live their life like this.
But the corporate job played another part in all of this that he hadn't even thought about. For the past almost 10 months, Kevin had worked for Gravity Diagnostics, a lab testing company in Kentucky. Besides being experts in testing a wide assortment of bodily fluids, Gravity also did one thing big: birthdays. In Kevin's time at the office, he'd seen many people walk in and be bombarded with tidings of good cheer.
Surprise!
And shouts of happy birthdays.
Happy birthday, you son of a bitch.
He didn't want that. He couldn't handle the anxiety of it all. Kevin suffered from anxiety and didn't like the attention. Not only that, but there was also the issue with the bad memories he associated with his birthday. Instead of hiding from the impending date, he swallowed his pride and decided to talk to his boss. Although it did scare him, he found the strength to come forward with his fear and explain that a birthday party may trigger a panic attack, something that Kevin was prone to have a couple of times a year. To his surprise, his boss Allison was very understanding and said she would get it taken care of. Kevin was finally able to take a sigh of relief, knowing that his own issues were all he would have to work through on his birthday. It was now Wednesday, the day of Kevin's birthday. Kevin woke up with the anxiety he expected he would have, but was still relieved to know that he could have a regular workday. As he walked into the front door of Gravity Diagnostics, he was greeted with a couple of birthday wishes. "Happy birthday, Sir Kevin," Agatha Ernestine II said, holding the door open for him. "Up top, Kevbot," Tyler the salesman said, going for a high five. Although this was not ideal, Kevin did not fret. After all, it was his birthday. He knew he couldn't avoid all signs of the day. The day went about like any other. Kevin filled out all of his test reports and listened to his favorite podcasts, while everyone went about their usual tasks. There was still something odd in the air. Every person who didn't wish him a happy birthday was acting very weird towards him. People kept asking if he had any big plans at lunch. Every question they asked seemed to end with an unspoken wink wink sort of inflection. As lunch rolled around, Kevin took the back way to the lunchroom to remain undetected. As he stepped into the room to get his food, that's when he saw everything. Sprawled across the ceiling of the lunchroom was a giant banner saying, "Happy Birthday," with streamers all around, and Agatha Ernestine II sitting in the corner, blowing up balloons.
Oh dear.
Kevin snuck around the edges of the room, almost as if he were Indiana Jones trying to miss a minefield of booby traps. He opened up the fridge, grabbed his lunch, and ran out of the building. Once back to his car, all of Kevin's anxiety caught up to him. The whole point of his avoidance had been lost, resulting in a full-on panic attack in the parking lot. After gathering himself, Kevin started his car and went home for the day. After an evening of wondering why his workplace would choose to ignore his reasonable request, Kevin returned to work, seeking justice. Sitting down for the day, he logged into his computer and sent an email to his HR department and boss. The email had stated that he was very upset about how they did not follow his wishes. This email landed him a meeting with his supervisor and the company's director of business operations, Ted. In the meeting, Kevin worked up the courage to stand up for himself. He told his superiors that he had asked that no celebration take place, as it brought up bad memories, and that the workplace's actions caused him to have a 45-minute panic attack. At different points throughout the meeting, Kevin's supervisor told him that he was stealing his coworker's joy, while also accusing him of being a little girl. This was already a difficult situation for Kevin to be in. He came clean about his disability and stood there while being mocked for having it. The emotions of the meeting were getting to him as his face turned red and his heart began to race. He started clenching his fists and doing breathing exercises, attempting to combat another panic attack.
"What are you doing?"
his supervisor asked. "Please, don't talk. Just give me a minute," Kevin said. The supervisor continued to ask questions while Kevin was trying to calm himself. "I think you should go home," she said. In the middle of another panic attack, Kevin was forced to surrender his access key while being escorted out of the building by security. Once back at his home, Kevin had received a call that he had been fired and banned from the office building.
Don't come back.
On August 7th of 2019, Kevin Burling requested that his employer, Gravity Diagnostics, not celebrate his birthday due to trauma he had experienced in his past. Seemingly accepting his request, the receiving representative forgot to spread the word while then going on vacation, resulting in a birthday party being set up anyway. Kevin ran out of the building and had a panic attack in his car. When granted a meeting with his management the next day, his supervisor chastised him for stealing his coworker's joy and, quote, being a little girl. This resulted in another panic attack, leading him to be escorted from the building. The next day, he was fired. The story does not stop here, however. Kevin decided not to back down and continue to stand up for himself. He got himself a lawyer and sued Gravity Diagnostics for not making reasonable accommodations for his disability. In court, Kevin's lawyer brought up the ignored request and how the supervisor put him down for refusing to be a part of the birthday celebration. In the company's defense, they stated that the supervisor felt unsafe by Kevin's actions in the meeting, feeling that he may strike her at any moment. After the jury had seen Kevin on the stand, they decided that he in no way seemed threatening and believed that he was just coping with anxiety. The jury ruled in favor of Kevin and awarded him $300,000 for emotional distress and $150,000 in lost wages. Kevin's story brings me a ton of joy, seeing how a little guy who is pushed around by the man can fight back and actually win. Most of these situations are made in a way to favor the side with more money or power, whether right or wrong. But these little victories do bring hope for a brighter tomorrow. This crime against humanity ended with the little guy on top. I hope that win from this birthday can overshadow the trauma of his past birthdays, so that maybe he can one day look back and view this date as a date of redemption. As for all of you listening, I ask that you raise a celebratory glass in honor of Kevin. We are all going to acknowledge a man who stood up for himself and what is right. But we will revel separately, alone and away from large crowds, just as Kevin would want. Clink.
Oh my God. Give it up for Kevin.
Kevin, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy Holy cow! I have so many thoughts. First of all, Kevin sounds very similar to you in the way that you hate birthdays and you hate having celebrations about you.
Yes.
Honestly, I am so appalled with how his workplace handled that, though. Mm-hmm. You and I both have our own mental health stuff. Like anxiety is definitely a thing that we know well.
Yeah.
And for somebody to then turn it around on you being like, I thought he was going to strike me, when he's like, please stop talking so I can breathe. Mm-hmm. Give me a freaking break.
Company can be like, get out, you're fired. And they'd be like, I'm the victim.
Yeah. Like, no. What? Okay, I have some questions though. Like for you, do you think you would ever go so far to be like, hey, people, like, please don't, like, if your company was known to throw these gigantic birthdays, do you think
if
you
my
would...
company liked other people that work for them?
Yeah. Do you think you would go in there and be like, please don't throw me a party? Do you think you would even go that far to say that? Not saying that Kevin was in the wrong. I'm just curious.
No, I totally understand with Kevin's issue. Kevin's got way worse anxiety issues than I do. I do not have panic attacks.
Right.
I only had those at the very peak of my worst time. But I just say like, ooh, this is awkward. I deal with whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I wouldn't go that far. I think, honestly, I would feel more like I stood out by asking for the request than just putting up with it. Plus, I love cake.
Yeah.
If I was going to go that far, I'd be like, don't throw me a birthday, but can you still like put a cake in my car for me? Like just all for me.
Right.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but if that did happen, I don't know. I'm such a people pleaser in situations, and I don't like situations to be cringy and weird.
Yeah.
That I don't want to cause a scene, so I would have just swallowed it down and dealt with it.
Yeah. I thought you would say something like that. Like, I'm not saying he's in the wrong, but yeah, he must have some severe issues, and they must really have thrown these awkward birthday parties for everybody that he felt it in his heart enough to be like, no, this deserves me as a person with anxiety going to tell somebody this, because you don't want to talk about your panic attacks and anxiety with your workplace unless you think it's going to cause you even more anxiety, you know?
Especially if you have, like, I work for a very sort of conservative, old school company. So if I was to be like, I have anxiety issues, they'd just be like, huh, I think you just told me he's a sissy.
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't know. I would think that a Gravity Diagnostics place would be a little more open, but either way, this boss was not, by calling him a little girl for doing that.
Yeah, that is offensive in so many ways.
It's so messed up. And I'm still not sure by the wording of that if it was a female boss that said that or not.
Yeah,
I think it was a female boss that called him a little girl.
It sounded like it from your story.
Yeah, that's
it's
how
like,
I've understood it.
Why are you using being a little girl as a negative? I love my little girls, you freaking asshole.
So in the articles, his trauma was that his parents announced to him that they were getting divorced on his like 17th birthday.
Oh my God.
And from the way it was handled, or the way that he took it, he felt that his family had said, you are the reason why. And so that kind of crushed him from 17 on. And he was only 27. He's still pretty young.
Yeah.
And so I didn't put that in the story because I was just like, let's just put in the joke about the capitalism instead.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want any part of this to come off as though I'm making fun of a person with this problem. That was what the trauma was. And so, he didn't really like birthdays. And just for somebody, like we were kind of alluding to, for somebody to kind of out themselves in a situation to a superior, a workplace person that has no business in even knowing that about you.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
And like, it's none of their business, but you're saying, hey, something that you're doing is going to affect how I do my thing.
Yeah.
I would prefer that you just leave it alone. Let me have a normal day. I mean, it's not asking that much. Honestly, it's saving them time and money.
Exactly.
But they apparently love throwing their birthday parties.
That is so weird. It's such a weird combination. Like, let us throw you a party, but also I'm going to make fun of you and your mental health, and I will not respect your wishes.
And then I'm going to fire you because I triggered your mental health.
Yeah, you wouldn't let us throw you a party. Get out of here. Do they hate their job so much that they have to have these breaks? It seems like way more about them.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, don't steal our joy, And it's like, what the fuck does this even have to do with you? I'm just asking you, please do not make this a thing. I don't like my birthday. Please no. And they're like, yes, we are definitely going to do this anyway.
It makes me think of, there's tons of like Office Place movies and TV shows and stuff where they really do look forward to birthday parties.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, we have a boring ass office. It's on our calendar. It's the one fun party we get this month.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. My company is nothing like that.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I don't think I've ever worked for a company that was like, we're going to celebrate every single person's birthday. Now, my most recent company, they would have a card and people would sign it and give it to me, but they wouldn't have a whole party.
Kevin would have been fine with the card, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, I've never had a company be like, we're throwing parties for every single one of your birthdays.
So I assume this workplace is just like one of those TV shows or movies.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can make sense of it.
Yeah. But to then get mad to not be able to do that just sounds so stupid.
Yeah. But then he made $450,000.
God, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. You go, Kevin.
Yeah, that is so cool.
To be fired over having a problem that's honestly, and maybe not that severe of, anxiety and panic attacks, but something that you and I have both experienced, something that so many people experience, and to then make that money, it's like, hell yeah, that's like a win for us,
Yeah, it's a win for the little people, and it just makes me, like, I would never think to sue somebody in most situations in my life.
Right.
But I feel like when somebody wrongs you, the point of calling you a name and just being like, oh, I guess you're a little fucking girl then, like, yeah, you better take them down. When you and I work together, I have always been so big about staying hydrated. I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
My boss at the time, who you know and love.
Oh, God, yes.
Was a real jackass. And he had this very toxic masculinity way about him. And I'm sitting here and I would fill up my water bottle about once an hour and I would drink it. And he just came up and put his hands on his hips and got in my face one time and said, drinking water again, are you? And he kind of said it in a way like, get back to work and stop drinking water. And I was like, yep, got to stay hydrated. And he goes, I think water's for pussies. I drink a lot of tea.
Oh, my God.
And I just looked at him like, okay, cool. Now, had I been fired in that situation and he had said that to me, you're damn right. I would have loved to have tried to have sued his ass off on that. But, nothing really came out of it except for, just this weird putting me down, which had happened all the time.
I'm pretty sure I knew that. I think I just kind of forgot about just how bad that place that we both worked was. Yeah, my boss that worked there said some really inappropriate shit to me as well. And I even had an awkward meeting with him and the HR person about it. Yeah. Where I was crying and I was saying the horrible things that he said. And he still wasn't fired and still nothing was done. So to see Kevin succeed in this, I'm like, slow clap. God, that's so, To everyone listening out there that is dealing with a boss that would say stuff like that to you, I don't know. Just know you're not alone. Or maybe just go fart on their office chair or something.
Yeah. Or in their coffee cup.
Yeah. If you can stick it to the man in a way that won't get you in trouble, maybe try and do that this week. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're a petty criminal anyway. So do your thing.
Right. Just do it. And then tell us about it. And then we'll do a story about it. Oh, wow. Well, that was a good one, Trevin. I love it when we are rooting for the main character. It doesn't happen very often at all.
Yeah, he's definitely a hero.
I have a story for you as well.
Okay.
It is also a story that I discovered from the news. I don't think my character will be as beloved as yours.
Uh-oh.
So let's just get into it, and here we go. Anytime we leave our homes to go out into the world, we are taught to dress for the occasion. This is an important rule to follow, so that other human beings won't taunt you, or worse. For example, you wouldn't want to wear a white gown to another person's wedding. This could lead to confusion, causing you to end up married instead of the intended couple.
How was I supposed to know who to marry. She's wearing white.
I wouldn't recommend wearing a clown costume to a job interview, because if hired, you'll forever be expected to tell funny jokes at work. And I would avoid floral prints entirely when visiting a bee farm, unless you want to get pollinated. There are so many faux pas to avoid when deciding upon your outfit for the day, and this is no exception for a petty criminal. The story I will be telling you all today is a grim one, and a solid reminder to make sure your outfit design fits the crime. Barry was a man in his 40s, living in Aurora, Colorado in 2018. Even though Barry was slightly overweight and addicted to e-cigarettes, he somehow managed to land his attractive girlfriend, Shauna. They had been together for a few months, but Barry was worried his new romance was fizzling out. The couple had begun bickering regularly, and it was almost always the same fight.
"You need to get it together, Barry,"
Shauna would say.
"Every time I plan a nice evening, it's always sweatpants this and hoodie that. Don't you want to look good for me when we go out in public?"
Barry was afraid of losing Shauna to a younger and more hip guy, but was too broke to buy new clothes. He was constantly spending his small salary on vaping and lottery tickets. New clothes just weren't his first priority. But if it meant Shauna would dump him, Barry had to find a way to make money appear. The day after the couple's latest fight, Barry walked into the closest e-cig shop. It was much more crowded than usual. "Apparently everyone is vaping now," thought Barry grumpily to himself. "This store probably makes a fortune on all of us nicotine addicts." He scoffed out loud as he realized what he had just thought. This store must be loaded with cash. Cash that he desperately needed. Barry purchased his vape pens as he tried to hide his guilty conscience from the clerk. He knew that the next time he entered this store, he would be leaving with all their money. The day of the planned robbery arrived. Barry woke up and aggressively brushed his teeth while staring intimidatingly into his mirror. He walked into his bedroom to prepare his burglar's disguise, but froze. "What the hell should I wear?" he thought self-consciously. Barry clearly had no fashion sense and could hear Shauna's fabricated voice echoing in his head.
"You're gonna wear that to a robbery?"
But before he could let himself feel any valid emotions, he threw on a dark hoodie and sweatpants. Barry then put on orange and black gloves to prevent fingerprints, a pair of white sunglasses to cover up his face, and a red hat, just to add some flair. He didn't own a real gun, but he did have a BB that looked like a long-handled pistol. Even though Barry's sweatpants were a little too big and his gun was fake, he felt tough as he posed in his mirror.
Charlie's Angels pose.
Barry drove to the e-cigarette shop and parked his car out front. He banged on his steering wheel and gave himself a brief pep talk before he exited his car.
Complete this robbery and I'll take you shopping.
The shop was empty of all customers, and he knew this was the moment he had planned for. Barry cockily opened the shop's front door with one hand and held the fake gun inside his sweatpants with the other. He quickly approached the female clerk behind the counter as he pulled out the BB gun. As soon as he made this swift motion, he knew something was off. The fake gun came loose from his slippery gloved hand, glided gracefully across the counter, and landed on the floor behind. The clerk shrieked as soon as she saw the gun land in front of her. In a panic, Barry tried to lift himself over the glass countertop display to retrieve his BB. That's when he realized he had other problems. Not only did Barry not have the upper body strength to lift himself up over the counter, But as he awkwardly half jumped up, he noticed his sweatpants began to fall down. It was in this instant that Barry knew his plan had changed to a fail and bail. Like a wannabe ninja, he sprinted back to the entrance of the store and clumsily jump-kicked the glass doors open. Although this was a much cooler way to open the door, it also caused Barry's sweatpants to drop down to his knees. His briefs were exposed to the afternoon sunlight as he tried to lift his pants while hustling through the parking lot.
Everybody saw my little tushy.
I'm not sure if Barry was ever caught, as the latest news articles I found stated that they were still searching for the bumbling bandit. We can only hope that one day he will be found, whether that be by the fashion police or the local police. We will just have to wait and see.
Can you describe the underpants?
So you can't really see them super clearly in the video, but the whole entire surveillance footage is online on YouTube. I watched it over and over and over again because I wanted to try and really do a good job of describing how ridiculous this failed robbery was. But they just looked like some darker colored briefs. You know, I wish that they had like a funny pattern on them or something.
Yeah, or like white with red hearts, like in the old 1960s cartoons.
Yes, and I wish they were like boxers instead of briefs. You know, I just find that to be more funny. I don't know why.
Or a banana hammock.
Yeah, something like that. Like, give us a little more of a show, Barry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Barry, do I think that his outfit choice was the only thing that caused this robbery to fail? No, but I do think it played a very large majority in the role. Because, I mean, his gloves clearly didn't have good grip on them. That's what made the BB fall over the counter. I think the reason he couldn't jump the counter was probably because he wasn't, you know, like I said, he didn't have a lot of upper body strength. But also, I mean, I think his pants starting to fall down probably really threw him off.
Not maneuverable.
And I cannot describe the way he exited the store in any more detail than I think I already did. How it was like a weird wannabe ninja jump kick, which caused his pants to then fall even further. But yeah, Barry, he's a very interesting character. And also, Barry isn't even the guy's name. I could not find his name anywhere because he has not yet been found, which this took place in 2018.
So he's good.
I don't know if he was found and people just didn't think it was interesting enough to do a follow-up article, or if he's still out there at large. But I thought Barry was a fitting name. Also, Shauna is completely fabricated, but, you know, that's the only thing that could make sense to me.
You really went there with Shauna. I feel like I could really feel your emotions and your energy with her voice.
You know, Shauna, I really loved that character that I created. And I think that Shauna deserves better. I think Barry could try a little harder with his fashion.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Did you say he put on sunglasses?
Yes. So everything that he was wearing was exact. He had dark hoodie, dark sweatpants, and he had white rimmed sunglasses and a red baseball cap.
Well, in that case, I have our connection.
What?
I talked about how Kevin wanted to be like Captain America, putting on sunglasses and a generic hat.
Oh my God.
To be inconspicuous. So I know we've already done disguise episodes before, but these are about generically inconspicuous disguises.
Right. Like they just wanted to blend in, but also kind of cover themselves.
Yeah, and by going so hard trying to blend in, you really stood out by looking like the Unabomber or something.
Yeah, like it looked weird. It was like, okay, dude, really? But I guess if you're trying to blend in with also being disguised, I guess that's really the only way you could do it.
Yeah, so suspiciously inconspicuous.
Okay, I love that. Okay, I'm so glad you came up with a connection because this was one that I really was not thinking of that. But that's a really good one.
Yeah, you talked about his cap and sunglasses. And I was like, oh, this is so obvious. We've got it.
Yes, good job. Good job, because I did not even think of that. So, wow, amazing. Well, so we both have these guys trying to blend in with also, ending up standing out.
Yeah, they still got the attention.
Your guy, of course, was a lot more likable than mine.
That's for sure.
So, wow, what a great episode. I had so much fun. It's really been a journey getting like our new artwork and our new name out there. And we've really received a lot of love from like our OG listeners. And I'm hoping that we can really gain a lot of really fun and awesome new listeners to our Doomed crew. I did notice that somebody asked if we were going to be changing the name. Yes, our one of our loyal listeners, Lisa, she sent a message saying, are the listeners going to be called, what was it that she called it?
Laughing Larcenous?
Yes, Laughing Larcenous. And you said Doomed Crew for life. And I was like, hell yes, we are not changing that at all. But Laughing Larcenist is pretty damn funny, I have to admit.
It scares me a little bit.
It scares me a lot, but also makes me giggle.
True.
So thanks everybody for all the support. Like I said, as you can tell by these past episodes, nothing has changed. We are still the same.
Yeah, still petty, still wild.
Exactly. So have a great week, everybody. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to fly under the radar.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day speaking to Alexa, who sounds like a dead relative, to listen to our show instead.
And feel free to share your favorite Doomsday video with us on social media. Instagram and Facebook, Live Laugh Larceny Podcast, or Twitter, Live Laugh Larson.
If you have committed any petty crimes with your origami fingers, please send us an email to livelaughlarceny@gmail.com or send us a DM on any of our socials.
And if you'd like to give your employer a bad review, give us a good review instead. It'll all work out in the end. Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. And it just feels like a lot of pressure. to let people know I'm happy. Fuck. And it just feels like a lot of pressure to let people know. Oh.
What do they need to know, Trev?
I'm trying to let them know.
Hey, oddballs. I'm Jensen, and the host of It's an Odd World After All, the podcast. Are you in need of a good spook? This podcast has you covered. Tune in to listen to real-life paranormal events every week. You know, the things that go bump in the night.
Unidentified flying objects.
And strange creatures in the forest.
Go follow us on It's an Odd World After All podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
Also, head over to itsanoddworldafterall.com for more, or to submit your own spooky paranormal story to be featured on an episode.
Don't forget to share us with your family and friends.